what we'd like to showcase here is a very powerful Eller Media case study about a memory care community in Southwest Florida called Gulf Coast Memory Care. And the key that you're going to see throughout this video is how we've utilized Growth OS as a complete operating system to reinstall growth. See, this community in 2024 was losing money every single month. And in 2025, we installed Eller Media. And this is a story about, 10 or 11 months in the making from when we installed Eller Media, again, losing money, to where we ended 2025, which is an increase of 34% more move-ins, new residents versus 2024. And that trajectory continues into 2026 by seeing more inquiries, more tours of the community, and more move-ins year over year. So that velocity has continued to increase. So you're probably wondering, okay, so how did you do it? You're looking here at Gulf Coast Memory Care. This is a redesign of the website that existed early in 2025. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. The first thing we do for any client is we did an audit. That audit included paid search spend. That audit included SEO work, keyword strategy. That audit included Google Analytics and overall site traffic. And so what we've been able to do is we distilled all that information down. We did our first Compass session with Gulf Coast Memory Care. And so we've extracted, who is that ideal customer that is absolutely vital for any business. And what you will see is that ideal customer, her name is Crisis Carla. And she is, likely in an emotional state. It's either her loved one, it could be her husband, it could be a wife, could be mom or dad, could be someone, an aunt or uncle that, lives south of Fort Myers, but north of Naples or northern Naples. And, they've seen a decline, cognitively. And that's an emotional experience for Crisis Carla. And you can see here how that impacts her emotional drivers, her identity, his fears, their deepest concerns. And so instead of just generically marketing a lot of, you'll notice senior care communities are marketed about the building, the facility, the staff, the blah, blah, blah. We believe none of those really answer the core problem of our customer here, which is there is an emotional need. And so I'm going to get into that, what that looks like here. So what you can see here is I've gone into the brand brain for Gulf Coast Memory Care. And this is the single source of truth for all of our brand strategies. So for every client we work with, we create the brand brain. And what you will see here is you give an executive summary. So the key difference with Gulf Coast Memory Care is we are 100% memory care focused. We're not assisted living. We're not senior living. This is a memory care community. It's not a facility. It is a community. And so you can see families who find Gulf Coast Memory Care are usually in one of two moments: a sudden crisis or a slow, exhausting realization that caring for their loved one at home is no longer sustainable. It's important to notice, again, who is this about? This isn't about the community. This is about the person. And this person has a problem. They're in an emotional state. And so what you will see here is we further position who is Gulf Coast Memory Care made for this moment. We have the big bet for every client. So we want to own the guilt to love reframe in all of Southwest Florida. And you can never get too far away from asking, who is this for? Who is this built for? Well, this is built for Crisis Carla, right? Crisis event, wandering, maybe a fall, maybe it's an emergency room visit, a hospital discharge. And every client we work with, we nickname their ICP. So you can see here, we've got Crisis Carla, Steady Sarah, right? Gradual realization care is needed. Faithful Frank can no longer manage alone. They've realized their loved one, maybe it's their wife of 50 years, he can't do it at home by himself anymore. And he's got to come to that realization that it's okay and that his loved one is safe. And as you scroll down here, what you will see is we've got definitions on all of our ICPs. But then with every client as well, part of the system is we create four content pillars. From panic to peace, love means more than doing it alone, safety creates joy, you're not alone in this. Now, why is that important? Because every single message we deliver connects to one of these four pillars. That helps us stay consistent. It helps us deliver value over time. So whether we're writing a blog or we're writing a video script for YouTube or we're creating content on Facebook, it connects to one of these pillars. And you will see here we've got core messaging, we've got our differentiators, right? So there's always four pieces here as well. 100% memory care focused, people who care like family, places that calm and engage, and programs that stimulate joy. So it's 100% memory care focused in the 3 Ps here. Now, what you're also going to get when you work with Eller Media is we take this step deeper and we niche down. So we've got, the emotional drivers of our ideal customer of Crisis Carla. But what's motivating her? And this is where the beauty lives in our system. I'm going to click over here to the top 10s. This top 10 lists the top 10 objections of our ICP, not of Gulf Coast Memory Care, of the person we are looking to serve. The top 10 objections. She won't know where she is. It'll confuse her more. These are all content angles. They're blog content angles. They're video content angles. Anywhere where we want to produce story around the ICP, we'll use the top 10 objections or the top 10 fears, that care won't be personal, that she'll just be a room number. These are real things, right? You can feel the emotion charged in these kinds of questions or these conversations. What are the top 10 logical questions the ICP or their loved one is asking? How do you handle wandering, sundowning, or agitation? Can I visit anytime or are there restricted hours? How do you communicate with my family about changes in condition? Top 10 emotional motivations. Top 10 financial motivations. This is a financial decision. This is a private pay community. Okay, so Medicaid, Medicare, there are a few very select angles where that applies, but this is a private pay community. So it is a financial decision. High emotion, high finance, right? These places are certainly not cheap. They deliver a tremendous amount of value to the family, to the loved one. And so what we do is we get into that framework with, as you can see here, a tremendous amount of depth so that any and all content that we create, we are aligned. At no point in time do we get distracted. So what does that look like? Well, we create a content calendar. And so if we were to take a look at this, we've got LinkedIn posts, Facebook posts, and Instagram posts happening every Monday. We've got LinkedIn posts happening Wednesday and Friday. We also have blog posts going live. So we've got 3 or 4 per week. So we've been doing this now for about 40 weeks. We've got over 120 different posts unique to the neighborhoods, the ICP, Crisis Carla, her challenges, her fears, her motivations. And so what we've done is we've created this content cloud around everything that she's looking for. Because look, at the end of the day, you have to be found. So what does being found look like? Well, if you were to venture to our Facebook page, you would see content that circles around. If you've noticed changes in your loved one, again, think back to those content pillars. Here is a post. We create video content on site. This is, again, just a couple days ago about music therapy, programming that stimulates joy and memory. And so you can see here we've got a tremendous amount of engagement, but it continues to tell the story of who is Gulf Coast Memory Care, what to look for on a memory care tour. Here are 5 things that actually matter. And so as someone is in the market, again, you're not sitting on your couch at night thinking, how do I find memory care? No, you're brought into this, right? And so when you're at that emotional state, we look to answer those questions. Here you can see a video that our team produced, just showcasing the overall care and, again, emotional connection to the residents. If we move over to LinkedIn, you'll notice, again, we do have a presence here because some of our top resident partners come from refers. They come from hospitals, they come from home care groups. And so we continue this content over here. The follower count is not massive, but again, we are checking the box that when someone is ready and they need to make that decision, we can be found. Again, you do not have to wait until crisis. Planning ahead matters. The other thing we've been able to do as we work with Gulf Coast Memory Care is we're taking a look at the review count. And so here, again, we're looking at this in May of 2026. About a year ago, we had about 35 reviews. As of about a month and a half ago, we had about 50 reviews. And so we put a system in place, again, speaking to the language that separates Gulf Coast Memory Care, that makes us unique. We're up to 111 Google reviews, of which about the last 50 are 5 stars. That helps with search relevancy. That helps reduce the cost of our AdWords campaign. It increases our opportunity to be found, and it communicates to that caregiver, Crisis Carla. Again, she is at the center of our universe for everything that we create. So if you're thinking, how does Eller Media do this, right? We move you from signal to sale. All of these pieces that we are creating are on brand. They're aligned. We communicate with frequency, with volume, but they move you toward what they need, which is safety, right? Being able to sleep at night. Here are some other signs or data points now. So as we move into our scorecard, we started with our compass and we said, where's the business? What do we need? How do we grow it? Where does growth live? We've created the brand brain with a tremendous amount of depth around our ICP. You've started to see the amplification. That's step 3 of utilizing this content across multiple channels. And now we're going to get into the actual scorecard piece of it. But before I go there, you can also see we've carried that messaging over to YouTube. And so we've got imagery with our ownership, with our staff, with our executive director. How does Gulf Coast Memory Care personalize care plans? What's the one story that sticks with you? The guide program. This is actually a Medicare benefit. What are the most common concerns? Look at the view count, almost 10,000. Look at the signal on these. This is from a year ago. And so we utilize that information. Again, then we might utilize that as a paid ad tool to promote it because the marketplace has told us there is signal there. How do we know we're growing the business? Well, because business grows with attention, right, in the marketplace to your ICP. Our active users year over year, so let's go up here, January 1st through May 11, 2026 versus 2025. This is where we even started our growth trajectory. Our active users to the website are up 75%. The overall session traffic is up 77%. Our phone call traffic is up almost 40%. And we can tie the actual phone number from who clicked our ad on Google Click to Call to the move-in data that lives in our CRM. We have visibility to that, to an actual move-in, right? And these move-ins are not cheap. You know, a resident will likely stay 8, 12, 15 months. You know, these are $100,000 opportunities to deliver care for that family. And it all ties back to the ICP. And now it moves forward into our scorecard. And so we've got the data to prove out how are you growing the business. At the end of the day, what is your growth strategy? A lot of clients we talk to, we say, what is your plan for growth? And the last thing we want to talk about here, just to put a bow on all of it, is as we've grown attention in the marketplace, we've generated more local awareness. We've identified our ICP. We've tightened in our geography. We've grown the business 34% year over year, 24 to 25. 26 is growing on top of 25. We're now profitable, which is where every business owner needs to be. But we have a growth strategy. We have a plan in place. And now let's talk about the last piece, the icing on the cake, which is a sales enablement tool. And so we've created a model for Gulf Coast Memory Care here, a custom GPT that speaks in our language to our ICP with our 4 pillars, with our messaging, all aligned here. And we can utilize this on site to create content. So right here, I've pre-prompted this, but said, write me a 20 to 30 second script I can use to film a quick welcome to the community video. This video might be sent out to a family. Again, think about where they are mentally. And so what's going to happen here is absolutely beautiful. We are going to create content on brand for Gulf Coast Memory Care. As you can see here, here's a warm, reassuring 20 to 30 second welcome script. Welcome to Gulf Coast Memory Care. We know this journey can feel overwhelming, but you are not alone here. From the moment your loved one arrives, they're surrounded by a compassionate care team. Again, the people that care like family, pillar inserted here. From the moment your loved one arrives, they're surrounded by care like family, trained in memory care, who truly care like family. Here, your loved one can expect a safe, calming environment, engaging daily activities, meaningful connection. I hope you are seeing the stars aligned. This isn't an advertising campaign. This is a growth strategy employed by Eller Media to grow the business across a multitude of touch points. So at the end of the day, when we say we believe, we know we'll move you from signal to sale, this is exactly what it looks like. We drive more traffic, more qualified traffic. That traffic engages with the content we have and says, we feel seen. We need help. And you seem to be one that could help us. That's the case study for Gulf Coast Memory Care.